Good morning, everyone. And I'm your host, Shashi, on this platform on Women Dialogues. And today we are again with one more strong voice from Singapore, Puja. She's joining us from Singapore, and we are here to create more voice for women by women. And we will get into detail to see how she built up herself the way she is today, how what kind of journey she had, what kind of challenges and all. So we will talk all those details with Puja today. So welcome, Puja, on Women Dialogue.
Thank you. Thank you, Sashi, for such a warm introduction and welcome. Thank you so much. Honored to be on your platform.
Thank you. It's our great pleasure to be with you today, Pooja. And as I was talking about, we will definitely would love to hear about your journey. You are very famous and internationally renowned. You have worked globally with a lot of businesses and individual as a coach and leadership coach. So uh, before reaching on that, we would like to know about the current place you are living in Singapore. Tell us about this place a little bit, what it is, how it is, and let's connect further. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So first, of all, Singapore is a melting pot of all the cultures. You would it's a small dot in island, but you would find like the people out here are so warm, Sashi. I must tell you, like you can find all the cuisine. I'm a big person who has like I'm very food connoisseur, and you would find across all the cuisine. It's a melting pot, and the best thing is nearest to my hometown, home country, right, India. So that's what's loving staying here, as it's easy to connect back home and love the people, love the vibes here. Now coming to my story, where it started. It stories are powerful, right? Because each of the story, it has so many beliefs, right, which shapes
Yeah,
us.
definitely. Yeah.
Isn't it, Sashi? So for me, it started in a small town in India, in Rajasthan, and I was the first professional in my family, which was a
Oh,
hardcore business core family, a
wow.
completely non-English speaking family. Okay,
Mhm.
so when I was growing up, I had literally no one to look up in terms of like to guide me with respect to
Mhm.
my homework because no one knew
Mhm.
English around, right? So my
Mhm.
dad, he had moved from Rajasthan, a small town, Nathdwara, to Mumbai metro.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm going to pick up here and there a few incidents because I told you, like, the story, the belief system, how it came in. So I'm going to just pick
Mhm.
up a few things and weave it together.
Mhm.
There's actually one very interesting thing is like now today, if you look at my job or my role, what I'm doing, I'm a leadership coach, and it has a lot of speaking activities which I do.
Yeah.
Right now, back then, when I connect the dots in my childhood, I told you like my dad had moved to Mumbai. So when he moved to Mumbai, I must tell you, Sashi, that in the school when I was going to invite, I used to love to speak, right? So there was this elocution competition, and I was so excited. I must be in my, I think, first grade, yeah. And I was
Mhm.
being invited to speak. My name was being called out.
Yeah.
Went on the podium,
Mhm.
and I started speaking in Hin English. Now, people, global audience, now what does a Hin English means? Is like
Yeah.
English, a little bit of Hindi weaving it. Okay. So obviously everyone started like I felt everyone was mocking around at me. And that day I cried like anything. So I
Hmm.
could have given up and I would have said, like, I'm not going to speak. I can't get the hang of the language, but I didn't. My mom said, like, no, let's try, let's keep on trying. And then after I reached out for the right resources. So, people say that it's a lack of resources. I think it's not a lack of resources. It's lack of being resourceful. It
Hmm.
is, when you're going to face with this kind of challenge, how are you going to take the leap forward? So that belief of not giving up and especially not letting the
Hmm.
outer voice be your inner voice has shaped up what I have become today. And then fast forward, I lost my dad at an early age. My mom is a cancer conqueror. And in my corporate career, wherein I was I've worked with companies like United Phosphorus Limited, Asian Paints as a trainee in HPCL, Johnson and Johnson, and then into the management role. I was the youngest lady in the leadership role. So right from my childhood beliefs, you see the incidents had shaped me up that it's the inward excellence which is going to lead to the outward excellence. And that's what is reflected today in my work. And fast forward, was very, very honored and like full of gratitude to be mentored by John Metton on a scholarship basis. John Metton happens to be number one coach globally, and I'm so privileged to be mentored by him, and that's on a scholarship basis. And thereafter, I started my journey working with millennials, Generation Z, women, and young leaders. So now today, if I need to sum up, Sashi, I'm on a mission to create communities of leaders who are inspiring, authentic, courageous, and in turn can create more leaders across geography and age group.
Yeah, that's really, it's truly inspiring and amazing story, the way you connected the dots from your childhood, having a very humble background, and same time bringing that, as you grown up in or you was from small town and known here English background, and no exposure or environment for this such kind of work which you are doing. As you mentioned, you are the first female or first person even in your family. So when you are talking all these incidences, what you find while having all those now at this stage, since you are very famous, you got the scholarship, which is with the John Metton, you got mentored by him, which is who was the Steve Jobs coach as well. So it is definitely, it's one of the, I think, say, honored to have such kind of thing. Yes. And when we are talking all these things, and if we see back, right, your family, your history, your childhood, how you find your family reaction, or maybe in their attitude, what kind of thing you noticed?
So my mom has been obviously a driving force, my mom and dad, and though they didn't know the nuances, but they never stopped me. They said like, okay, fine, go ahead and explore. If you're going to fail, but fail forward. So they were there for me. I wouldn't say they were not there, but they would always say fail forward. So today when I do, like obviously my mom says like it's a journey. So it's still you have not arrived. There's not a destination. So approach it more with a traveler mindset. But yeah, somewhere they're very proud, they're very happy. And when I see other people, they feel inspired by me. That's very good. I think the best inspirational moment or the happiness moment was when I got awarded as a 51 influential woman. And
Wow.
when my story was being published in Stories of Asia in Singapore, and it was among the top five story which was resonated across age group and geography. So I think that was the very proud moment for my mom, but especially my children. So they really find it very inspirational. So in my house, there's a lot of leadership talks which keeps on going on. So my, I must say that. And somewhere like my daughter is 11-year-old, my son is 5.5. So they inspire me a lot, actually, and it's good to see, when they start practicing it. So that's a proud moment for me as a mom when I see them practicing, them implementing. So I feel like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I can totally, have that sense, because as I'm also mother of two kids, and when seeing those, your professional life, your career life, and it is going beyond your professional and all environment setting, beyond that, you are finding those little inspiration or learning in your own kid. It is a proud moment. I can totally
Yeah. So
have
she,
that feeling. And
absolutely. With your permission, sorry,
yeah,
with
please.
your permission, I just reminded of an incident and I want to share it with your permission. So
Yeah,
what happened
please go
was,
ahead.
like, obviously in a corporate training, in one of the corporate training, I was saying that as a leader, you need not be. It can be very isolated, right? So you need to learn across, even from your from your team. It needs to be reverse mentoring. So now
Mhm.
coming back to my home, what I was telling you. So my daughter, she went ahead and she chose Mandarin. So I told her, like, no one knows Mandarin. Who's going to teach you? She said, my brother is going to teach me. I said, how can he teach you? He's still so young. And how can he? Because he has been learning Mandarin, right? And you said, like, we can learn from anyone. So what?
Yeah.
As long as he is good in Mandarin, he's been learning right from childhood. I can always learn from him. I was like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. It's really beautiful the way to create that kind of mindset and that approach. It's so important to have in our life, because many times when you are bringing this small incidents about your family or your children, I think it's not about you or me, it's about in general. uh, when we have that kind of approach that we can learn from anyone, we have always towards our growth mindset. I always use this terminology. I hope you are more familiar with
Yes,
fixed
yes,
mindset
right.
versus growth mindset, because
Absolutely.
I always say myself, even I have done studies or not, I have done my PhD or not, I always feel like, no, I'm not expert. I'm learning. I'm still growing every day. I have a lot of things to do, because it makes me to see forward, right? Rather than keeping myself in the block. No, I have done that. No, that's enough. So I think that approach is so important in each one of our life. So tell us a bit more about this approach in general, how one can develop this approach uh, while talking on this platform. I think especially if we are our audience or our listeners are listening this episode, I would like to give them that sense how they can develop this approach to have that, because usually what happened, uh, we have built up our own ego, we built up our own restriction, we built up our own hesitation or constraining all the time negativity, and lot of self talk, which create boundary for us, right? So but same time, talking about with like the approach you are bringing in on it this platform, so how one can work on that approach.
Sure. So I look at growth mindset something which expands you, which evolves you, and which energizes you. Now,
Mhm.
how can you get into this 3E of expansion, of evolving, and of energizing? So I think, Sashi, it's very important to get to the root cause, like what really prevents us. And as you rightly mentioned, ego is one, and something is like our childhood belief system,
Hmm.
right? And then
Hmm.
it is a fear which we are always saying that what the other person would think. Then we get into a rut of comparing, complaining, criticizing, which
Hmm.
just so limits us, right? I think because there is a constant thing where we have a yardstick wherein we are continuously comparing, like, what does the good and successful mean by? It is
Hmm.
something which has been said. Yeah, but tell me honestly, if I may ask you, your success definition, my success definition would be different, right? It would not be
Yeah.
same. But yet we see many of people falling into, like, that's what success is. Maybe identifying with a person, maybe identifying with a number of I don't know, x amount in your bank or x assets. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's where I think we limit ourselves. And that's where we get
Hmm.
into the fixed mindset. That's where the creativity stops.
Hmm.
So if we want to be creative, if we want to have like energize, expand, evolve, we need to first understand who we real are. And something so beautifully said by Einstein, that everyone is
Mhm.
genius, right? But if we judge the capability of ability of fish, a fish
Mhm.
can't climb the tree, and then we'll think like, oh my god, that fish is foolish, right?
Mhm.
So we need to first understand what is our capability, and then we need to be, ensure about our environment around. If we have people who are very toxic,
Mhm.
if we have people who are continuously into the negative zone, we need to cut off. I mean, use your five senses very intelligently and discern when you are using it. I
Yeah.
think that's where the growth mindset develops. So it
Mhm.
is, it is, if you want to develop the growth mindset, you need to dissect the environment and yourself, okay? Dissect and then discern what do you want to lean towards. Do you
Hmm.
want to shrink in your limiting thoughts or do you want to expand? You need to keep on discerning. And
Yeah.
then you need to develop. That's so important. So I think this 3D and those E is where the growth mindset happens. That's how I
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, no, definitely you got these points, 3Ds and all these are very unique and very important. But when we are talking about bringing, from individual life to bringing into professional world, how it seems to be and what we they can demonstrate or accomplish those their professional achievement or task, because as you are personal leadership coach, so definitely I believe you must be working with a lot of leaders and corporates or companies. So there is always challenge, between having your own individual growth or personality and same time showing off or bringing those qualities or those leadership mantras uh, into their professional achievement, success, or to demonstrate their those kind of qualities, how they can build up or do. Is it the same process goes on, or or maybe some more or different way?
So is your question this, that how do we demonstrate
Yeah,
the growth mindset at the workplace? Is that your
yeah.
question?
Yeah,
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 am I
exactly.
correct in my understanding?
Because many times what happens, uh, every corporates or every business or every profession, they have their certain set of things, set of environment, set of rules, and many times it is challenging to bring those maybe new those skills or leadership qualities in particular your work environment. So how they can demonstrate, how they can show that these growth mindset is a key element to continue their process of growth.
Sure. So Sashi, while I'm doing coaching and many of them they say like I want to do this puja, but the environment doesn't support me. So I always tell them that even before going to the external, there's a lot of internal work which is required to be done. As I told you, like inward excellence leads to outward excellence. So there's a lot of things which you need to see internally. Are you taking that leadership, personal leadership? Are you
Mhm,
exercising that? Because once you
mhm,
are strong enough internally, once you have conviction, and then
mhm,
you go ahead, you would have reasons to state. Because any
mhm,
culture, I mean, based on my background, even in the human resources and now in leadership, okay, when I was doing back then a lot of cultural interventions or
mhm,
OD work, organization development work, it's we collective people who form the organization, and then it's a cascading effect, or cascading effect, or the effect upward, right? So
mhm,
as a leader, um so I'll talk in two ways. Sashi, hope it helps. One is as an individual, what can we do as an individual in the organization, and as a leader or a manager, what can you do, right?
mhm,
Do you
mhm.
think that would help, Sashi, breaking this up into two? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
All right. So
Because
as an
we need to
individual,
talk about from individual to the professional, and that's challenge with everyone, right? Whether it's for you, for me, you can talk your way of style with your family, with your kids, with yourself. But when you're talking about
yes,
in your professional environment, what way you can continue the same process or some
yes.
similar kind of mindset? Yeah.
Sure. So one is like I think somewhere, I mean, even if somewhere you are, whatever you are at home or whatever you are at a person,
Mhm.
somewhere you will be similar to the corporate world. It would be minor shade difference, the way the certain clothes difference would be in the morning or the night time, right? That's only going to be the minor shade difference. As an individual, it's very, very important to see your biases, because many of us, we have our own internal biases about ourselves and about the
Mhm.
others, which
Mhm.
stops us. Because that's the
Mhm.
same thing which is going to come in the corporate. Like if you have grown up thinking that people, only if you're aggressive, people will listen to you. Only when you
Mhm.
shout, people will listen to you. if you have grown up thinking continuously about this, or this is something which is fed in your mind, when you go into the corporate,
Mm-hmm.
you would behave in certain way, right? You will not be very approachable, or you would have someone, who just comes like thrashing down on his team, or would not, or if you have been taught like there is only this particular way to do, and I feel like education system is a classic example wherein
Mm-hmm.
you feel like only this is right, this is wrong. Okay, there's no other way to it. If you have been taught this way very strictly, then you will be always want someone who would be very adhering to the norm, and if someone moves around the norm, you will not be comfortable. So it is an interlinkage of our belief system. So whatever belief system has been there in the life when you're growing up, some patterns do come in. And that's why even when we are doing the coaching, we do into that deep intervention call, right? And now this thing are going to just keep on getting amplified and strengthened as you go up the position. So now when you are in a leadership position, very
Mm-hmm.
important to understand that leadership is something, it's a responsibility, it's not a privilege. Many people start thinking like, oh wow, I'm at a leadership position, it's an entitlement I have gotten. So and they start behaving in a different way altogether. While if you look at it more of a responsibility, you more look at as a parenting. I feel parenting and leadership is very similar, Sashi. That's what I feel. So, as a
Mm-hmm.
leader, your outlook need to be different. You need to be more be present in the moment. Because
Mm-hmm.
even as a leader, sometimes people are not present. The listening skills at the leader is very selective because they
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm at a certain position, and obviously at a certain position you need to filter out, but not
Mm-hmm.
filter out that you are like, I'm not going to listen to this, or sometimes people are not very open to feedbacks and the
Yeah.
feed forwards. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the gap, and it's a continuous cycle because frankly speaking, when I look at it, I can't see like, okay, this is where the compartment ends and this is where it starts, because
Mm-hmm.
based on coaching so many people across geography and working in different age group, I do feel there's a pattern which keeps on getting amplified, and it just strengthens. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
understand and break the pattern and be open and receptive, like, yes, I want to make a change.
Yeah.
um, in one line, it is like, if you're open to make a change
Mm-hmm.
and you want to make a change,
Mm-hmm.
you would embrace the mindset which is required.
Yeah, that's so true, and I think it's very crisp and very static. In the way when you mention about the in a one line, it is really important. And when you are talking about this leadership qualities, were similarly like as you relate with parenting, and I think it is uh, very deep topic, and many of us, like as you are also a mother, I'm also a mother, and maybe many of other listener and audience can be a mother, parents, and not only mother, so parents. And just would like to know how having that mindset of leadership and having parenting, because many times these tips or these tools can make them understand or can have maybe a better collaboration or understanding in their family setting as well, while having a role as a parent. So what maybe some of the tips or some of the learning you can share with us?
Sure. So is the question like, how do we instill the leadership in our children while they are growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. uh, so one of the best thing I think, is children are observing you.
Mm-hmm.
So you lead by the example. If you want your child to be appreciative, to be grateful, um, have a look. Are you being grateful? Are you being appreciative? If you want your child to listen, are you listening? Yeah. So be very very, examine yourself. Okay, very very important. That what kind of behavior are you modeling in?
Mm-hmm.
Then simple activities like empathy. I mean, I'll get on to the few practical tips. I think because the overall knowledge is good, but I think the few practical tips what the mothers or the fathers can do is, I
Mm-hmm.
think the best thing what I do is, she like Friday nights we have book reading.
Mm-hmm.
right? So when we take turns to read book and we actually try to empathize how the character is feeling, okay? So when my son is going to take, he's going to actually try to emote it. So and so do my daughter would do, so do I would do. So what happens is once you're reading and you're doing it as a family activity, you are increasing the empathy. And when they come back, I will not tell them like, what did you learn in the school today? How was your day? I'll say like, what is something which you enjoyed today?
Mm-hmm.
Um, were you grateful? What is something that you were grateful for today? Or what is something wherein you helped someone? So that's how the kind of questions I ask them, the power question, because I think that's so important rather than just getting into the studies. And I get into the why a lot. That why are you doing so? So I use 5 time why. So whenever my daughter would come with something, I'll keep on asking her why 5 times, and will make her reach to the answer. So practice what you want your child to do. So the best thing is if you feel your child is not being attentive, is not being respectful, time to look inward that are you demonstrating that or not? Because your child is picking up from somewhere. From where is
Yeah.
it picking up, right? So you need to
Yeah.
have a look at it. The second thing is whatever you want to instill in your child, give them a logic why. How is it going to help them? Let them decide on few choices. I let
Mm-hmm.
them decide on few choices, and then I don't go around, bashing them like, "Hey, you decided this, and see what has happened." No, I don't do that. I relax it, and you know what, Sashi? As we are growing up, sometimes it is our childhood experience and the parent, as what sometimes if someone is not scoring good marks, the parents would be like, I told you, if you don't study, see, you didn't listen to me. Now you see what has happened. Now you see what has happened. And then, if the child is not scoring well, and then we say, still you don't have shame and see what has happened. And then the child would be like, oh my God, I'm supposed to feel ashamed about it. And that's what happens, right? I mean, when we grow up, and especially as an entrepreneur, we say like, learn from your mistakes, rise, fail forward. But are we teaching our child to fail forward? No, we are teaching them to be trapped in that failure. And we
Yeah.
make them feel so embarrassed about it. And see, as a parent, we are not at all consistent. I'm,
Mm.
as a child, we tell them like, you better do this, you follow this, and if you're going to fail, you still don't have any shame and all the things. And this child, when he grows up, he goes in the corporate, and then we say, relax, son. Why are you so, bogged down by it? This is all part and parcel of life. But we have instilled in them those qualities. So very important, be consistent. Uh, I think parenting is very intentional. Sometimes we want them to come in our space. The children want them to us to go to their space. We need to create a common space wherein there are few ground rules. And one important tip which I want to say, especially we are speaking about the fathers and the mothers now, children are very smart, very, very smart, you know.
Mm.
So have a protocol now. Sometimes, there's obviously certain things they just say, like, okay, fathers, the dad says so, you will do, or if mother says so, you can do it. So then the children start thinking, like, oh, my father is more influential, or my mother is more influential. So whatever is the back door, whoever decides, but in front of your child, you can always say, we will have a discussion and let you know. Then whoever calls the shots, it's okay. But in front of your child, it's very important because that's where you're instilling the inclusiveness. Because when they grow up, they are so not very inclusive. So it's so important. I hope it helps.
Yeah. Definitely, I think you got a lot of important tips and techniques how we can bring those qualities and uh, develop our children the way we want to look to them, rather than giving them initial if and buts and then questioning them is kind of always improving, and same time having putting down themselves, I can say initially, because and then later you find why the certain way your child is behaving like that, whereas we forget that it is, as you mentioned, observation. They are very smart, they observe. So I totally agree with this point. So when you are doing all those work as a beautiful and very strong woman in your professional life, in your personal life as a mother, what one strong advice would you like to give to our audience or our viewers?
Okay. I would bring in this that many times we feel, I'm going to put it in a phrase, okay? I want to say this that every exit is an entry somewhere. And for that entry to happen, you need to think that you always think that, the grass is greener on the
Mhm.
side, on the other side, but the grass is going to be greener on the side you're going to water in. So be very,
Mhm.
very intentional. What are you watering in terms of your thoughts, actions, in terms of what kind of company you are around? So be very intentional about it. That's what I want to say, because each day contributes to what you are going to be 5 year down the line, or like rather 1 year down the line or 1 month down the line. So be very careful about what you're doing each day, each moment.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really very beautiful and very, important in the way when we are talking about our own life and development, and especially in current scenario when people are dull, gloomy, and having a lot of stress because of this pandemic. I think bringing that point and giving them that motivation and inspirational, seeing themselves in each day rather than getting those fear and stress. That's beautiful. Thank you once again. Thank you. Thanks a lot. But before finishing, I just would like to ask, why do you think a platform like this, Women Dialogue, is needed?
I think this platform is so needed is just coming back to this, what I said, activate your five senses. I think this is a platform which wherein you get to activate all your five senses. You get to tune in. You need to you need to see, you are seeing like the various speakers coming in, and it stirs your thought. So I think that's why this platform is so important, and you're doing a wonderful work of igniting the thoughts, so that you're inspiring people to take actions, to move, and you're impacting so many lives around. So thank you, Sashi, for creating such a beautiful platform and continuously bringing it up each day, showing up and creating so many stories, so many powerful stories from different globe across the globe.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such an honor and uh, proud moment for me to hearing such beautiful words. Once again, thank you so much, Pooja. It was
Thank
such a
you.
great pleasure to be with you. And thanks to all viewers. If you would like to hear more women voices and part of Women Dialogues, please connect with us. And if you would like to connect with Pooja and with her work, her description are in her details are in description below as well. See you next time. Till then, enjoy. Take care. Bye bye.